Okay, for 10.7, we're dealing with something called the discriminant. And in a quadratic equation, we call b squared minus 4ac the discriminant. So remember, the general form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. I'm having pen issues. Okay, I think I'm calibrated. The discriminant helps you determine how many solutions you'll have. So the discriminant does not tell you what the solutions of a quadratic equation are, but it can help us know how many solutions we'll have. So if you remember back to when we graphed quadratic equations, sometimes we had two roots. And if we have two roots or two zeros, that would make the discriminant positive. So if b squared minus 4ac is positive, you will always get two solutions. That could look like this picture here, opening up, or it could look something like that, where we're opening down. Either way, you're going to have two roots. If b squared minus 4ac is 0, you get one solution. So your vertex is going to be on your x-axis. And if b squared minus 4ac is negative, then you get no solution. So that means your parabola never crosses that x-intercept. So we're using b squared minus 4ac to tell how many solutions there are. Not necessarily what the values of the solutions are, but just how many. So it's actually fairly simple. Remember, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Well, a here is 1, b is negative 3, and c is negative 4. So now we just plug these things into our formula for the discriminant. So b squared is negative 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is negative 4. Now the big thing with the discriminant is not losing track of your negatives. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, or positive 9. Now, over here we have negative 4 times 1 times negative 4. So that means we're dealing with a positive 16. Chop, chop, right? So we have 9 plus 16 equals 25. 25 is not the solution, but 25 is positive, so we have two solutions. Since 25 is positive, looking back here, if we're positive, we have two solutions. Okay, how many solutions are we going to have here? We don't necessarily need to write this ABC out. Our b value is negative 2, so we have negative 2 squared minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 1. Negative 2 squared is positive 4, minus 4 times 3 times 1 is minus 12. 4 minus 12 is negative 8. We have a negative number, so we have 0 solutions. So this would be one of those situations where our parabola never touches the x-axis. Looking at number C, it's laid out a little bit differently. First, we need to get this in standard form. Set it equal to 0, so what we're going to do is subtract 4x from both sides. So we have 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. We're just bringing that over to the other side. Now our b value is negative 4, so negative 4 squared minus 4 times 4, because a is 4, times c, which is just 1. So we have 16 minus 16, that's 0. And remember, if the discriminant is 0, we have one solution. So really, this is all that 10.7 is, b squared minus 4ac. So if you'd like to go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own, go right ahead. Okay, let's run through these quickly. We're just finding how many roots we should have. How many roots should we have, which is the same as how many solutions we should have, or how many zeros. So we just use b squared minus 4ac. b is 6, so 6 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 9. 6 squared is 36. Now we need to be careful with our negatives. We have 1 negative, 2 negatives, and 3 negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive, but then that positive times a negative is going to be a negative. So 4 times 1 times 9 is 36. So 36 minus 36, that gives us 0, which I made look like a 6. So 0. So we have one solution, or one root. They are the same. Here we have y equals x squared plus 3x, and this looks different from over here, and that's just because our constant value is just a 0. So b squared, 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times 0. Well, this computation is fairly easy. 9 minus 4 times 1 times 0, anything times 0 is just 0. 9 minus 0 is just 9. So here we have 2 solutions. So that wraps us up for 10.7. Nothing too complicated. If you can remember this slide, you will be just fine. B squared minus 4ac, and then know if b squared minus 4ac is positive, you have 2 solutions. If b squared minus 4ac is 0, you get 1 solution, and if the discriminant is negative, you get no solution.